Hello, everybody, and welcome out to another exciting episode of the Save Slot 3 Gamescast. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, joined this week by Masofdas
Hello, everyone.
and Mr. CW Lanky.
Hi, Dave. I think I've survived the plague, Davey.
You have. You've survived the plague for another year. Until
I
next
think
year
so.
when you inevitably get the plague again.
Well, let's hope it's like next month or so. But yeah,
Right.
I'm still dying-ish, but nowhere near as bad as I was. Davey.
Right, and we managed to survive OBS being silly last week as well, so everything is good.
Pengi, are you still dying as well? Because you were dying as well at one point.
I'm semi-dying.
Semi-dying.
I've still
Okay.
got a cough and a bit of a runny nose and everything.
Yeah, it sounds like the voice is going as well, Pengi. Oh dear.
Yeah.
God. Well, I'm surviving, if that's a term to use about what I do. But yeah, good positive start to the podcast, boys. I love it. Pengi, should we get to the
Yes.
Bengals news desk?
Yeah, there's only 6 items in news.
A baker's dozen.
Yeah. Number one, sort of talked it last time. There was a Monster Hunter showcase, which is about 10 to 15 minutes long, and they announced there's going to be a beta. There's the early access on Plus. So on PlayStation Plus, it will start on Tuesday the 9th of October at 3 AM in the UK. If you haven't got Plus, then it starts on Friday the 1st of November at 3 AM, and that's the open beta, which will also be on PC and Xbox. And obviously with crossplay, you can obviously play with your friends over on there, just not on PlayStation. And then that will end on Monday the 4th of November at 3 AM UK time. So about a week of monster hunting if you've got Plus. Will either of you be hunting monsters?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm already so sold on it. Yeah, and obviously it's Monster Hunter, so you kind of know what you're getting yourself in for. So I don't know if I'm, itching to be here. Oh yeah, we've got to play some Monster Hunter, because you kind of, there's that much to play that you're like, I don't really mind waiting. In all honesty, because like I said, I'm already sold on the game. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe when it comes out and I'm watching people on Twitch play it, and I'm like, oh, I should download it and give it a go, maybe. But yeah, I'm already happy. I don't mind waiting. I don't think. What are you doing?
There is some bonuses if you play the beta. There's like a starter pack and there's a teddy bear pendant.
Well,
You do like teddy bears.
if there's reasons to do it, Pengi, it's right there. I'm not sure. I think I'm kind of with Craig. Like I kind of know what Monster Hunter's gonna be, right? It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be where you hunt monsters, right? I'm not sure. It's if I have nothing to do on that Tuesday, then I might play it because it's something to do and I have a PS5, right? But I'm not sure because I'm quite busy this weekend as well. The weekend coming, sorry. So I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those. Like I'm sold on the game, so I'll definitely buy the game next year. But yeah, I don't know. Have you planned your life around this beta yet, Pengi?
I'm not planning my life around the beta, but I will be playing the beta.
It's gone on the old
Sure.
Pengels calendar, is that what you say?
It has gone on the fingers. Like I said, there is a few bonus things for playing it, like the teddy bear pendant and the bonus starter pack thing. So even just to play for them and even if I just do the 2 hunts the once and that's it sort of thing, it's worth I guess checking out for that.
Nice.
Next news, Ubisoft confirms Rayman is undergoing a exploration phase within 2 of its studios, and keeping on Ubisoft, the Prince of Persia Lost Crown team are helping elsewhere now.
Oh,
Craigie.
Ubisoft.
Oh no, Dave's gonna chime in on the Ubisoft.
That's Ubisoft in it. Yeah. I feel like we talk about it every week, but yeah, they're a bit clueless, isn't they, at the minute, Craig?
Yeah, there's a lot of confusion around this as well, because supposedly the Prince of Persia team pitched a sequel to the first game that came out obviously earlier in the year, which was obviously very well received critically, but I'm guessing didn't do big numbers. And it sounds like they didn't want the sequel, Ubisoft. So people thought that team was getting shut down, and I believe that's also the team that made Rayman before. So I mean, there is a little bit of a strange one. It's like, well, if they're all going to go work on other stuff, and you want to make a Rayman game, and you've got the team that made the 2 really good Rayman games before, and they're not doing the sequel to Prince of Persia, why don't you just get the Rayman team to make the Rayman game, right?
It's all sounding far too logical, Craigo.
Yeah, it does boggle the mind, doesn't it? I mean, it's exciting that we potentially will get more Rayman, although I guess we have to. When we see it, we believe it, right? But yeah, I guess the last 2 are great.
Confirmed Rayman, they're having it, but some rumors was there's going to be like a Rayman 2 remake or remaster and stuff. There's also been rumors of lots of Ubisoft remasters next year for the Switch, like Splinter Cell Blacklist, the one that was on Wii U.
Yeah,
and like Driver San Francisco, and like a Driver 1+2 like HD remastered thing as well. I guess they might have seen how like Tomb Raider's done well or something, and there's 2 Driver sort of thing. But just kind of also feel like Ubisoft needs money. They're sat on all these IPs. Let's just do a bunch of remasters, if that's true as well.
Yeah, definitely. They need some low cost, low risk projects, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like they but the guys who've been working, they want to get work on these Rayman guys. It's just basically anyone who doesn't want to work on Assassin's Creed at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they've killed Watch Dogs, they've killed Immortals. Those games won't be series anymore, so it's kind of like, oh, Assassin's Creed, Just Dance, or yeah, anything else that's a remaster that's easy money, like you said, easy money.
Oh, didn't they mention the one that Pengi wants, Beyond Good and Evil 2? Didn't they mention that some of the devs will be going to help on that?
Yeah, they said it's. Yeah,
they said it's still going. Still a
it's
thing.
Still going. It's still going.
It's difficult because I haven't played Beyond Good and Evil 1 in a long time, so I don't really want to comment on it. But it's like, is it really a franchise? Because to me, like, Prince of Persia is more well known than Beyond Good and Evil, and like you said, a really critically acclaimed Prince of Persia game came out, and no one gave a shit. So, is Beyond Good and Evil 2 gonna really convince a lot of people to buy it, Pengi? I don't know.
Most probably not. The only reason I can see why they're still doing it is a little bit like Skull and Bones. They've pumped so much money and time into Beyond Good and Evil 2 already, that they're just gonna get it finished, because otherwise it's a total waste.
Yeah,
Skull and Bones had was it Saudi money being pumped in as well, though? Yeah. So they're kind of like, it's less of a hit for them, isn't it? Whereas I guess this is probably all their own. And it doesn't. Obviously, I'd not played the first one, but I did watch a little bit of it when they did the remaster early in the year, and it just doesn't really sound like the first one either.
No,
it
from the
like
trailers now,
completely different.
Yeah, from the trailers of Beyond Good and Evil 2 and that, even though the game has sort of been rebooted, rumored, and like multiple trailers over the years, it's a very different game.
It almost reminds me of like the marathon situation with Bungie, where it's like, oh, we're bringing back this IP that like some people know about, but doesn't really seem to be what people who would know about it remember it as.
No, but the hints of Beyond Good and Evil 2 in Beyond Good and Evil 1 20th anniversary seems to be more like what the first game was. So I don't know what Beyond Good and Evil 2 looks like or what it's going to be. It could be anything. I generally think it could be anything.
Well, we will wait and see, Pengi. That and the Sands of Time remake, I guess.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah. Number 3 on the news. Yuka Relay Playly is coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo. Not the Switch, Nintendo. And this is the console announcement.
The N64, we're getting a cartridge.
They actually did that when they released it first time, Craig. You could get N64 packaging for it, if I believe, Pengi.
Yeah. It was
That's
a
pretty
Kickstarter
cool.
thing. Yeah, so it's now coming to consoles, and obviously it's the two current gen consoles from PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, which would be the second, I guess, Switch 2 game after the My Time game on Kickstarter and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So when are we getting the Switch 2 announcement? Like, people were announcing games for it, and this isn't like a weird Kickstarter either, Dave. This is actually like a proper game that's sort of been announced for it.
Yeah, I feel like we'll get something soon. I mean, I'm looking forward to replaying Ukulele because it was a bit messy when it came out originally, but it had a lot of like really good ideas. If you're into that type of game, I think I have it via gold. So I wonder how that upgrade path is because I have no idea of gold to anything really. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, we got it. Will we hear the Switch 2 before the end of the year? I feel like we will. Nintendo can do what they want. They could be sat on a video for months and then just go, hey, today's the day.
What about you, Craigie? Is it your sort of thing? A bit of ukulele?
No, I've really never played either of them because there's two, right?
Yeah, there's one that's
Source.
there's one that's Banjo Kazooie and there's one that's Donkey Kong Country. That's basically the best way to describe it. The Donkey Kong Country one is really well reviewed, and the other one is kind of a buggy mess. Well, it was. I don't know if it still is, to be honest, but
Yeah, I think I own the first one through gold, like same with you, Dave.
Yeah.
It's one of those series where I always look at it and go, "Oh, that looks cool. I should really try it out." And you just like, it gets lost in the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's always something more interesting that you end up playing
always
instead.
hilariously cheap. Like Ukulele and the Impossible Lair, I think I always see it in a sale on every console for about £3, and it's definitely worth that. So like, if you're ever like, oh, I fancy playing sort of relatively difficult 2D platformer for £3, it's a steal. Faux show.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I should probably jump in one day, but we'll see. Probably needs to be on a service, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Talking of services and ukulele, what about Banjo-Tooie, Dave, on your NSO Plus?
Yeah, it's cool that we're getting there. I mean, like I said this in the forum, we're one step closer to Diddy Kong Racing, Pengi, which is what we want. But yeah, Banjo 2's it was obviously in the Rare Replay collection and was on Xbox 360's dashboard, and is a great platformer. But again, like for us, there's been ways to play it for a while. But it's cool that Xbox are letting it go on NSO. And like I said, I just want Diddy Kong Racing at this point.
You do love a little bit of Diddy Kong
I
Racing.
do, I really do.
Yeah. And like me, Craig, you haven't got a Switch. If we wanted to play this, we could just go turn on our Xboxes.
Yeah.
If we wished.
Get some.
And isn't it the first one that people like more than this? Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the second one, I think the N64 was basically done. It's the same with Conker, because Conker's just known because of its content, but no one actually played it on the N64 because it was, I think, 2E was 2000 and Conker was 2001, and at that point we were all playing GameCubes and stuff, right? Nuts and Bolts is still one of my favorite games. I know people hate it, but it's actually a really fun game.
Oh, I'm surprised people don't love that now. You know, seeing Tears of the Kingdom just copied it.
Exactly, Pengi. Banjo Kazooie did it first.
Yeah.
Nintendo, you rat bastards.
Next item of news: Netflix shut down their AAA studio, Team Blue. Did you even know Netflix had a AAA gaming studio? Either of you?
No.
It's got the guy from Halo, right? That's who was running it.
Yeah.
Joseph Staten, I think it was.
Yes.
Okay, Craig. Knowledge.
He's rumored to be going back to like the Halo studio, isn't he? But yeah, it just seems weird. Like, I saw Netflix shut down studio, and I was like, well, I didn't even know they had a AAA studio or what they're even working on. Because most of their stuff seems to be like mobile or stuff that they've published based on like Stranger Things and that. So
it does sound eerily familiar to someone else, doesn't it?
They've dabbled, haven't they? But I feel they've probably taken one look at the AAA landscape and gone, not for us, guys.
No, definitely
you
not.
fuckers have fun over there. Good luck. And we're gonna keep our money and put it into something else.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the last bit of news is FBC Firebreak It's also coming to PlayStation Plus Day 1, making it the second ever game to be on Game Pass and Plus on Day 1. I feel this is a good idea because it's a multiplayer shooter game, and obviously, like, everyone can play it because it's on both services. Craigie, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's I guess it's smart from them because they're obviously taking money from both sides, which probably shores up the costs of this game, right? And maybe kind of guarantees them that they're gonna. You'd like to think at least get their money back, and then I guess for them it's all about then aggressively marketing it for Steam, and hoping that it does. If it does really well on Game Pass and Plus, and that's going to make PC players look at that and go, "Oh, I want to play that." Yeah, the first trailer that they did for the Xbox I thought looked amazing. I thought it was kind of funny, and they always seemed a bit down on it, and I was like, "This looks great. What the fuck are you guys on about? This looks like great fun." But yeah, I know. I think it's cool that it's going to be on both. I'll probably still just play it on Xbox because it's just I like playing shooters. So. But yeah, it's definitely cool that it's on both services. What was the first one, Pengi? That was.
Sea of Stars was the first game.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, on the same day. So, yes, I think the only thing it did look good in the trailer. It could get samey because it's the oldest house, and it's like how many maps are gonna look the same and stuff. Because it's the oldest house. They can, only look so different at so many times. What about you, though, Davey? Good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, I think like Craig said, it's you get your safety money, and then if it's a hit, then everyone's playing it and you can monetize it. And if it's not, you've had your safety money, so it's all good. But yeah, I think we'll probably play it right as a group. Hopefully, it has cross-play as well. So if one of us wants to play on one and one wants to play on something else, then it's great. But yeah, I think it looks interesting enough to play. I mean, like I said, I haven't played Control, so I can't comment too much on the content, but. Yeah, I think it looks. I think it's a good idea, Pengi.
I feel it might be like, seeing how they're talking about it, it might be quite an early 2025 game as well. I can see it be like a March or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully not February because everything's out in February.
I think they'll probably avoid February at this point.
Yeah, that was the thing with that Xbox show in general, wasn't it? It was like everything seemed to be early 2025, and you're like, Christ, there's already enough there, guys.
Yeah.
I feel everything is avoiding Grand Theft Auto 6. It's just like...
Yeah, that's
it's
probably what it is.
Yeah, it's just obviously no one really knows when that's coming. It's like, gotta go first half just in case. Next year. And that is all the news I've got.
Nice, Pengi. So we've got a variety of tots, haven't we? So what do we want to do first? Do we want to do the Adventures of Masofdas, or do we want to do the horror Mount Rushmore?
If we do horror Mount Rushmore, then Pengi can talk about his time in Edinburgh.
Lovely. Well, Craigo, you know the premise. You can start us off.
Right. So I tasked the boys with coming up with their scariest moments they could think of in gaming. What times do they have etched into their memories where they pissed their pants? What still haunts them to this day? What does Dave still wake up in the middle of the night screaming about?
So many things.
And not just when Leeds went bankrupt.
Wow.
So I'll start. So you get the gist. But I'll put one forward a minute. It's a little bit of a one that maybe you wouldn't expect, but I always remember this moment, Dave. And I feel like you might be on it as well. Maybe not so much Pengi, but Gears of War, boys. Okay. That first time the Berserker jumps through the wall. It's just a moment, just one jump scare, but oh my god, is that an effective jump scare? I remember playing this split screen with a friend of mine at school because he was round, and I was like, I got this random game I picked up in Game Station for dirt cheap. It's really good. We should play it. And obviously, I knew what was happening, so we were playing split screen co-op. I'd already played this part of the campaign, so I knew it was coming, and I kind of forgotten about it. And then it happened, and oh my god, I have never seen a human being jump as much as my friend did back then. It was brilliant. So yeah, that'd be the first one that I'll put forward. From Gears of War, the Berserker. Pengi, do you have a moment that you'd want to put forward for consideration?
See, as someone that, we've talked Silent Hill 2, and you're like, oh, it's got jump scares out there, wazoo, and it's like, no, it hasn't. I did have one, no, in Silent Hill 2, one thing that did make me jump a little bit. But I think a classic one is the OG Resident Evil 2, and when you first meet the Licker, and when they're climbing on the ceiling and zooms off in the thing, and then like their phlegm and spit like dripping from their tongue, and that is a bit of an iconic horror moment in games.
Yeah, that's what I actually thought of. Obviously, this is from the remake for me, but I did think of that because that first encounter there is pretty brutal, and they do make some horrible noises as well.
Mm.
Davey, you're not a horror man, I know, but is there anything that kind of still irks you to this day?
Well, I think the obvious one for me is the most iconic horror thing of all time. It's in Resident Evil 1. When you first load up the game, you go in the mansion, and it does the cutscene of the head turning as the first zombie's eating a dude. I think that is, for me, the most iconic horror thing. Like, I mean, it's the reason I've got an absolutely unnatural, unwavering fear of zombies, to be honest with you. Yeah, I remember playing that for the first time at a friend's house on PlayStation 1 and being like, I don't think I slept. I was terrified. Absolutely terrified. I was like, oh my god, what is this game? I mean, you could also, in the same game, you could do the dogs, right, Pengi? If you try and leave and they jump through the window.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
It's pretty scary. But yeah, I mean, Resident Evil in general. I think for a Mount Rushmore, the Resident Evil series has to have at least one representation, because it's the scariest game ever. So scary.
Yeah, definitely. I've heard people talk about the dogs as well before.
Yeah, the dogs is pretty. Yeah.
I've got another one from Resident Evil 2, and that's just Mr. X in general, to be honest with you.
That's a pretty good one.
Just having a massive massive dude constantly chasing you down that you can't really stop, and his footsteps are loud as dicks, and the way he ducks under those doors, Dave, something a bit unnatural about it. You have the music; it all builds up. Every time it happened, I felt like you get that shiver in your body. I feel like I had that every time he came into the fray.
Your little pants.
Yeah, definitely. Pengi, do you have any more you want to put forward?
See, that like makes you think of like obviously Nemesis in Resident Evil 3, especially on like the PS1 getting chased around with them. I think he got like obviously like similar situations like Pyramid for the first time in Silent Hill 2. Stuff like obviously Lisa and PT, and that seeing like her like chasing you about. I think, but all very similar type of things like chasing you. Thing. You got the bathtub in Eternal Darkness. As well, it's you don't like finding a dead body in a bathtub is a thing, but I don't know. None of it really made me like scared and stuff like that with like the jump scares. That's the problem with me, Dave going, oh, Luigi's Mansion scary. I don't like it. I found any of it very scary.
I think I've got a pretty good one that's not from a horror game, Craig, that you might agree with. It's the mission Private Jenkins in Halo 1. When you have the like POV of of Private Jenkins, when you go and you first see the flood, and you have to watch that whole cutscene of basically everyone getting murdered by the flood, and then the realization that you're in the same room as where all this took place, and Chief's kind of like, uh-oh, and then they all sort of break through, and then you have the flood. And I suppose if you didn't realize that was coming in the game. Obviously, the game came out in 2001, and there wasn't the coverage for I saw of the game. I think Pengi might be able to correct me here, but the coverage I saw of the game was mostly about the Covenant and the gunplay. It wasn't like, oh, by the way, it just turns into like a half a horror game randomly halfway through the game, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize the zombies were the baddies.
Zombies are always the baddies, Dave. They're at the root of all evil. It turns out. The last one that I thought of was again not really in a horror game, but it's kind of got quite dark, spooky filled with BioShock.
Yeah.
I don't know if Pengi will remember at the moment that I'm thinking of, but when you're in the medical bit of the medical wing, and then I think it's the dentist you go and see, Pengi.
Yeah, I believe it.
Do you know what I'm talking about? You pick up the power up or whatever it is, and you turn around and he stood right behind you. Do you know that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I remember.
That is one of the jump scares that got me the absolute most, I feel. So yeah. Right, is that it? Does anyone have anything else?
Playing against Man City on Football Manager. That's one of the most terrifying things of all time. Where you just see Haaland bearing down upon you. But other than that, no.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like we've got a lot of Resident Evil here, boys. I feel like we might even end up with like 2 Resident Evil things here.
Yeah.
So we've got the liquor first encounter. Resident Evil 1 head turning, Resident Evil 1 dogs, Resident Evil 2 Mr. X, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I feel like the liquor first encounter is one we should maybe go for straight away.
Yeah, I think it's pretty iconic.
Yeah, that's one that I had thought of and Penguins had thought of. So, and then maybe the head turning. What your voice was?
Yeah, it's pretty. Like I said, like a sort of iconic scene. You know, especially when playing the remake on like the GameCube and what's it gonna look like now? Because that I remember that scene from the original in the PS1. And what's it gonna be like this time?
Yeah, I think they both deserve.
And you hadn't seen a zombie before or anything like that, so like Jill or Chris are like, oh.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying. Still, again, I think it keeps me up at night.
I think I'd seen it, but obviously going back and watching it now, it's like it looks like nothing because obviously you're used to games looking like ridiculously good, and you go back and you see it like, oh, that's not scary. But at the time, I can imagine it was pretty terrifying. Right, that's 2 of the 4 then.
I think the Berserker needs to go on there because I think you're right. I think there's a whole different generation of horror. And it's a different type of horror because I know it's not as scary. It's more that you can't kill it. It's very unsettling that you have to figure out a way to do it. For that brief moment, you see it kill that other character off screen as well, and the characters these big buff dudes, and they're like, "Fuck, we're in trouble here." I think that deserves its spot. Certainly in the of the time, it's a different era by then. I mean, obviously by then we had so many horror games, haven't we, Pengi? But by then, I think it's another game. I don't think you expect that when you loaded it up. You're like, oh, okay.
No, I'm gonna we really the next Gears of War needs to have some horror elements again, maybe, right?
I think it will, buddy. I think it will. I have hope.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting how they do E-Day, because is it the first time you meet the Berserker in Gears of War?
No, I feel like because he doesn't say what is that. If I remember right, it's he calls in that there's a Berserker. So I feel like they can play that.
So it's okay, yeah.
Yeah,
that's good because that was my only thinking of E-Day. You could only have certain enemies because you haven't seen them yet, and how scary can you make the locusts for 12 hours or something? But yeah, if what you're saying is, Dave, is maybe you have seen a Berserker before in E-Day, and it's super, super, super scary because you definitely don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like the characters are like, oh my god, we know what a problem this is, but we don't know how to deal with it. Please advise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it could almost be like a little puzzle like this one was again. Mm-hmm. Right, last slot, boys, and at the moment it is between Silent Hill 2 Pyramid Head, PT Lisa, I think Pengi said.
Mm-hmm.
Halo Combat Evolved, Private Jenkins, and BioShock the Dentist.
It's probably got. I'm
thinking,
Heads, to be honest.
I'm thinking Pyramid Head. To be honest with you, I don't know. Is it in the original, Pengi? So I've done this part in the remake. When before you actually fight him, and he's just stood behind the grating.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's in the original and stuff. I do remember being like first time you see it, it's pretty scary and like what is this character? Like I said, it's sort of been copied with Nemesis, Mr. X, and all that sort of stuff, or Lisa even, which is going to be Silent Hill, so someone chasing you. It's been done, but yeah, Pyramid is definitely a big one at a time, and like sort of the Silent Hill mascot as well. Like you can get Pyramid Head plushies. He's in Astrobot and stuff like that, and that's like
He's in Dead by Daylight as well.
Daylight, yeah, which all started from like that thing. So it's kind of a big scary moment that's like transcended like beyond the game.
Yeah, definitely. Right, boys. I think we're set. So the Mount Rushmore of video game scary moments, according to Save Slot 3, is Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head, First Encounter, Gears of War, Berserker, Jump Scare, then Encounter after that, the Resident Evil 2, Lickers for the first time, and then the Resident Evil 1 Zombie Head Turning. I feel like we've done well there, boys. I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Right, that's it. On to Pengi's adventures.
Yes, the adventures of Masofdas.
Oh, yes. So last weekend I went to Andy Mann's stag do in Edinburgh for one whole day and 2 evenings. Well, actually 1 evening and 1 morning. Played some video games, did several things. So the first day on the Friday, we played some Smash Bros Ultimate, and Jay forgot his dock, so we had to play tabletop, really, really small screens. It's really hard to see.
Jay, what a bellend.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this is.
Yeah, so really small trying to play on screens and Joy-Cons as well, because, that's life, yeah. So I can't really, I was awful, and it was going to be awful anyway, and Jay's really good at fighting games, and he was still really good at fighting games. So I can't really use I'm playing as a Switch screen, and there's 4 players on screen because it's the same for everyone. But yeah, that's not good. We also did karaoke on the Friday night as well, because Andy is a big fan of karaoke and like the Yakuza games and stuff. So yeah. We did that. He also sings often on Game Show, as you all know, Dave.
He does.
But yeah, we
What
did.
did you sing, Pengles?
I sang a few songs. I sang "Don't Look Back in Anger" by Oasis. I sang "Into Deep." What's my age again?
Is there any
Black
video
Parade?
evidence of this, Pengi, and when can we have it for the podcast?
There is video evidence. I did take a video of Andy singing. I think at the time Bohemian Rhapsody
Nice.
was what he was singing.
Well,
But yeah,
if
I don't know if
anyone-
anyone else took any.
If anyone has Pengi
Videos.
singing in the pot and they're watching this, please can you email it to podofwarofficial@gmail.com, and we will
We
definitely.
can open the show with it next week.
Yeah, I think we'll just do like a moment, just watch Pengi do it. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. We had just went to some street food place or something that night. I just had a burger, and we contemplated what is a dessert and what isn't a dessert for days
Okay.
as well. Yeah, I was not happy with the dessert place that was available there. So yeah.
What upset you about it, Pengles?
Well, there was only one dessert place, yeah.
Right.
And they
Yeah.
had 20. They had 20 items of that, and 10 of them was ice cream. I was like, I don't want ice cream. And the other 10, 5 of them were cookies. It's to me, this is where the debate comes. Cookie is not a dessert. That's just a snack. There's something in it. So Yeah. And then the other 5 were cheesecake and something. I was like, I don't want any of these desserts. Very disappointed.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a great selection. I'll give you that, Pengi.
Yeah. I think Andy did have a tiramisu ice cream thing, and it did look quite nice. But it was where's an apple crumble, apple pie, chocolate gatto, that sort of stuff. But, like
Let's
the cookies.
eat in mess,
Yeah, eat a mess. Yeah,
Oh,
the cookies seem the weirdest. Like, I just don't really get how you can say a cookie is a dessert. Like, we sell them in the biscuit aisle, for instance, not in the dessert section. Yeah, it just does seem to the weirdest one to me. Yeah, so that was the Oh yeah, and we also played a card game called Monikers. We played that a couple of nights, but we played it on the Friday night as well, which is a bit of like Cards Against Humanity, charades, and stuff like that. Like you get a card, and the first card would say, what the first card's, I say Erling Haaland, for instance, it'd say, yeah. And for that, you're allowed to say anything apart from Erling Haaland. So you can say Norwegian striker plays for Man City. You would guess only. Then the second round, you can only say one word. So I don't know, say Norwegian. Trying to. And then the last round, you'd have to like charades and thing that, and you get your points. So we play some of that on the Friday. Saturday we played bubble football. My right ankle is still hurting a week later. I have no idea what I've done to it from playing bubble football.
Oh,
I
dear.
feel I shouldn't still be hurting a week later, and it's the only bit that hurts. So I don't know if that's a good. I don't think that's a good sign. Yeah, but yeah.
is this when you're just in a big plastic ball and you like run into each other? Is that what?
Yeah,
That's what I've got
yeah.
going on in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, so you basically put a plastic bubble over yourself. You got like put your hands like in by your chest, and there's like a see-through bit where you can like see through, and then you're just trying to obviously play football, but like when you tackle and stuff, you're obviously running into the people with a big bubble. Like Balor one pit, like I think Luke was the one that hit into him. He turned him right up, and his like legs were up in the air, like waving, because how he turned the bubble and stuff like that. Thing. We also played like bulldog type thing, where obviously someone trying to take us all out in the bubbles, where you just running into people and knocking them over. Very tiring, and that, especially all us lot. But yeah, that was fun.
Did you win, Pengi? Did you win bubble football?
I think we won. I think we played 3 games of bubble football. I think we won 1 on our team. I did get to the last. Did I get to the last survivor on the bulldog one time as well? And then I was taken out and stuff. I did score 2 goals, and I should have got a hat.
Did you get Pengels' classic, goal lingering going on? I can imagine.
Oh yeah, I did get 2 goals, and I really should have got a third, but Luke dived, which is hard to obviously see in the bubble, but what I could see, like someone diving, but you can't put your arms out, and it's just like a big bubble to stop my hat trick. That's disappointing, not getting a hat trick at bubble football.
Love it.
Erling Haaland would have done.
Yeah, he would have done. Thing. We had Thai food that night. Went to a Thai restaurant. That was fine. Thing. Not something like.
When Chris McGillen talks about food, it's either okay or it's fine.
Yeah, it's not something I'd order myself, like the street food place, like burger and chips. Thing. And there are a lot of aubergines in my Thai green curry as well, and I don't like aubergines.
Oh, Pengi.
Yeah. And then that evening we went to a barcade place where Jay had pre-booked a table, and for your money you got like a pot of tokens to use on the arcade cabinets, and you got free like discs to get like beers and stuff, beers and other drinks that you've already paid for and stuff like that. So I think it was like, I think it was 50. No, was it 15 or 25 quid or something? And you got like 10 tokens and free like drink tokens and stuff on the games and stuff like that. So I played some House of the Dead 3. So that was pretty good. I got to chapter 2 on that when I played that. Me and Smurf played some Outrun 2. That's pretty fun. I think we got quite far on that. He did, because it was like a versus game. He did beat me on that one. And I think it was quite close, and I forgot my car. It was in a manual at the start, so I think if I actually realised that and wasn't stuck in like third gear for ages, I could have actually caught him, I think, on that. Pac-Man Championship Edition, which is like a tabletop arcade where you're obviously looking down on the screen. 4 of us played that. Jasta absolutely like destroyed us. Like we were like all out, and he still had like all 3 lives going, getting his high score. Thing. There was other arcade games on there, but some of them were like, oh, do I really want to play like virtual tennis and stuff like that? I'm gonna play that on like the Dreamcast. They had some rooms where they had like Dance Dance Revolution and Guitar Hero in if you wanted to play some of them. They had game consoles connected up with like EverDrives and I don't know whatever the version is on GameCube. Plays the Smash Melee, much better at Melee than Ultimate and thing. And Dave, what rules would you play in Melee? Because when I put Melee on and we just played it, it was timed. I did go to some death and I did beat Luke in the end. And to me, I was like, that's the way you should do it. I got the most KOs in the time limit thing. But then they changed it to stock, and when we play Ultimate, we played stock as well. I see, and I don't know if it's because obviously I'm playing a lot of Melee, but I feel to me the time makes more sense. It's like whoever gets the most kills or knockouts at the end of the game is the winner, compared to I've got 3 lives. It's like my thinking is I could play Kirby and just float around the screen and not get killed, and then end up winning because the other opponent in the last one's only got 1 life left from stock thing. But yeah, what's your thoughts on like rules on Smash, Dave?
We've always been, me and my friends have always been a 5 stock, like no items, flat. One of the flat levels. Really, I know that's Craig's probably thinking what a bunch of fucking virgins, but yeah, whenever we played at uni and post, that's always been the Melee we go for. I think the kind of thought is like, well, you only get 5 chances, so if I don't know. The time's difficult because I think it might suit certain types of like play. So if you're really aggressive, then you might be able to stock up quite quickly.
Yeah,
or like fly away.
I was just thinking, like, if us 3 played now, you 2 could both take each other out. I could just fly around with Kirby, and then it's like, oh, Craig's left. He's got 1 life left. I got 3.
Yeah. I
take Craig out, and then I win, but I only really got 1 kill against Craig, where you got 3 kills against Craig, David. Yeah. It's like, well, surely you should have won.
Yeah. But I do love the bullshit of the Nintendo games, though, right? Like, that's half of the fun. Same with like Mario Kart. It's like if Mario Kart was Gran Turismo, it wouldn't be anywhere near as fun, would it? You need to have that absolute bullshit blue shell that isn't deserved, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like because we did used to play Melee. Is it Melee that was on the GameCube?
Yeah.
Around one of my friend's house, he had a GameCube when we were kids, and I feel like we just used to use like lives. So you had like X amount of lives, and once they were gone, you were dead. And whoever was last was the winner, essentially.
Yeah. It's just whoever's last man standing is the winner, not who gets. But the default of Melee when we played it and stuff was
I think it's always been time, isn't it, default?
Timed. Yeah. So it's like, I was like, well, that's what I'm used to. Thing, you know, that's how we played it back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, at the times, yeah.
I can tell you it's not coin, which is the other option. I believe. I don't believe anyone ever played coin more than once.
No, most probably not. Yeah, and then that evening, I think that's when we recorded like the in real life game show and played another game called Fake Artists, which is a bit like a Pictionary thing where one of the people was like, I put a car for mine, so car, then you put a paper around and then someone draws a line, then the next person adds a line, and then whoever the fake artist like draws a line, you gotta find which one didn't know what the thing was out of a thing. Stuff like that. And then on the Sunday we went to the museum because they had a games segment in the museum and stuff like that. There's a section that had a load of Rockstar stuff in and other like Scottish games and things like that stuff. A bit of history of games, like it started with like Pong, Space Invaders, went around, and there's like Atari Jaguar there and stuff like that. Andy played some Tempest 2000. Had a PS5, plugged in, and like a Quest and a Virtual Boy, sort of thing. The boys played Towerfall because I think it was 4-player thing. Not on Ouya. I was disappointed.
Wasn't that the game that was gonna kind of launched the Ouya. Wasn't that the big one,
Yeah,
the big dream?
I actually did
Yeah.
play that on Ouya, the back of the day.
Yeah. I think it had a 360 controllers, I think. So I don't know if they put it on 360 or a PC. Disappointing thing is a gaming museum thing that it wasn't on Ouya or something, or at least had the Ouya next to it.
They've let us down, Pengi. They've let us down.
Yeah, we played some. They had Saturn Bomberman there, and I think they had all 10 controllers plugged in. I think there was only 5 of us left on Sunday morning because obviously some already flew back and stuff like that. That was pretty good. I weirdly played Halo 3. I think they were playing that's when we Titanfall. I don't know what settings or whatever, because when I jumped in, the whoever I was playing as had 120 kills, and the next one had 80. And I must have thought, the next kill's 125 and stuff. But I think I finished on like 139 kills, so I gained like 19. I think I only died like twice, and it was a bunch of kids. And I did think, a bunch of kids should be like good at like a shooter. I'm gonna get like destroyed. They've been playing Fortnite, but it was complete opposite. I was like, well, this is absolutely easy. Some Halo 3.
Kids nowadays aren't playing Halo, are they? Pengi, it's just old men like us at this point.
Yeah, I know, but I was just thinking, shooter, they play Fortnite and stuff like that. It's like, I'm jumping on and I get like 19.
How we build? What's the build button?
Yeah, and I'm like getting 19 kills straight here or something. I'm like, yeah. Okay. Sort of thing. I didn't play it, but they did play some Jackbox as well one night. The lads and as well with Quiplash and thing. And that was about it. Did have a walk around the city before I met them. I went to Easter Road, to Hibs Stadium and stuff like that. Saw like the Scots monument. Obviously, the tram went past Edinburgh Castle, Murrayfield, and all that stuff. Good stuff, yeah. So it was a good weekend.
Good. So I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, Pengi.
Yeah.
And now you're back to sunny Wellington.
Yeah, it's only the second time I've flown, and the last time was like 20 years ago. So I guess it's good to fly again. And now that I know how easy it sort of is to go from like Bristol to Edinburgh. It just makes me like, maybe sometime, not like right now because obviously had to pay for that flight and be at Airbnb, but like, maybe do go Glasgow or something one time. It should only have taken out hour. Like, could I get tickets to go Celtic game or something like that?
Exactly.
It's going to be pretty easy to get to or whatever.
Yeah, then before you know it, you'll be on that plane to Tokyo, Pengi. That 12-hour flight.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good fun. So flying's one of those things. I've been a lot more over the last couple of years. I know that I've talked about it on this show a lot, and I do enjoy it. Like places like Dublin are another good one. Like say a 45-minute flight. It's a very different place to hear, like different culture, and and for games, lots of good games. Pengi, games everywhere.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't go like any game shops or anything like that, and I think it's just the barcade and the museum play. And the few times we played games and think, I played Luigi's Mansion 1 as well on my 3DS for a bit as well. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're gonna forego. I think we were initially going to talk about Call of Duty, but I think we'll save Call of Duty till next week, just because I've played it more. Because I don't think Penguin's played it at all yet. Have you, mate?
I've not played it at all.
No, okay, and I've done one single player mission, so we'll save Call of Duty, Craigo, for next week. So let's talk what we bought and what we played. Let's start with Craigo. Craigo, what have you bought and what have you played this week, my boy?
In terms of playing, I've played a bit more Silent Hill 2, but it is only a bit. Combination of it, I was kind of dying earlier in the week. It was very much quite pathetic, I'll be honest with you, Dave. It was very much like limp home from work and then I just want to be in bed.
Nice.
I can't. The idea of sitting upright and playing a scary ass game like Silent Hill 2, it's not an option, I'll be honest with you. So I have played a bit more. And I've been quite busy in work as well recently. It's been our stock take and all that jazz. So I've been doing a few extra hours as well. So that kind of didn't help the Silent Hill playtime at all. But I think I'm I played a bit earlier. I think I'm about 11 hours in at this point. I am now out of the hospital, Pengles.
Okay, okay. You haven't got that
It-
much to go, actually.
yeah, it's weird because I remember talking to you before. I think before you'd finished the hospital, and you saying, "Oh, the hospital was like the big main bit." And it is a long section again. But according to my PlayStation, I'm only like 51% or something like that. So I don't really know. I don't
Okay,
really
yeah, the
know.
hospital is a bit. It's like the halfway bit. I'm sure once I did it, it went on to like 60 odd percent once I finished the hospital, and then there's sort of two places after that. One of them is way much longer from what I remember in Silent Hill 2, and then there's the last sort of like final proper place, which is where I got my jump scare, and it was a bit of a weird jump scare. It was basically just the window opening that scared me.
I don't know. I get scared by the So there's enemies that like basically just hide from you, Dave.
Yeah.
The mannequins.
They literally like will curl up into a ball and hide behind things, underneath things. I am so careful when I play this game. I am hard scoping with my pistol around every corner. But every now and again, you kind of forget, and you just got to start running around willy nilly, and you will run right into one. That scares the shit out of you. So yeah, I have been caught by them quite a few times. They make really weird noises as well. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the situation, to be honest. So yeah, I'm out of the hospital now, and I'm just kind of like you're then like fighting your way through the town in the rain for a bit. So I'm doing that at the moment. I'm quite glad to be out of the hospital. I do feel like the game it kind of drags out some of the sections maybe a bit too much.
Especially the next section. Like, I'm pretty sure it was only one thing back in the day. It's now three things.
Yeah, so I found this in the apartment complex, but as well, where I was like, we're going through the apartment complex, and you're like, oh, I've been in here for quite a while now, and it was quite early in the game at that point as well, and I was beginning to think that is this game just this for another like 14 hours? At that point, I was like, oh, I don't know if I even, I don't know if I want to do another 14 hours of this, to be honest with you. But yeah, it could do with just, I don't know, shortening out some of these long sections, because it's quite nice when you then come out and you get a bit of a story section, and you're just wandering around the town for a bit, and you meet some more characters, and you kind of, there's a bit more of the mystery comes to light, as opposed to just going through corridors in the dark for in the same place for about 3 or 4 hours, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of, especially when you think you finished the section. Like I kind of had this in the hospital, Pengi, where you do the boss fight in the hospital, and I was there like, oh, thank God I'm out of the hospital now. Like I could do with going somewhere else. But then you've got to do the other side version of the hospital, and you're like, oh, I've got to go through the same corridors again, but they're like weirder now, essentially.
Yes.
So yeah, it maybe does have some like pacing issues, I would say, the game, definitely. And it is bloody. But when you're in these sections, it is very dark and very claustrophobic and quite oppressive. So it is also, maybe the reason I've not played as much is because you really do have to be in the mood to play this. I'd say, Dave. It's one of those. It's not a feel good game. I'll tell you that, Davey. It's not an Astrobot. It's very much a like, I need to be, I gotta want to put myself in that position. Which sometimes when you get home from work and you just want to chill, it's not always a game you're like, oh, I want to turn to playing some Silent Hill 2. I'm back in the apartments, Dave. I'm back in the pitch black with my little spotlight, trying to find these little things hiding from me. But I really like the characters that you meet. I still like it. I just think, I think it has definitely some pacing issues. And I do enjoy the bits when you're out of the main kind of areas, because it is nice just to wander around the town and do some looting and everything, because there's so much like attention to detail and like quality that's gone into the game that is just fun to just kind of walk around and find stuff. I am also finding Ping. I don't know how you found it, but like health item wise, I feel like I've had so many health items for the last few hours.
Yeah.
There's not really been a point with like health items where I've been like, oh god, I'm like on the edge here. You know what I mean? Oh god, I've got to fight like 3 U's and all I've got is one med pack. I've been like pretty comfortable. I think even at the moment I'm nearly in double digits on the syringes and the meds. So it just kind of like you know, it does kind of like, you know, take off some of the tension when you're like, well, even if I get hit, like I've got plenty of health options here. Ammo's been a bit more sparse, but then I find like there'll be points where I build up and I have like ridiculous amounts of handgun ammo, but then there'll be a big boss and then you end up like using a load. So I feel like that's maybe a bit better managed in it. Whereas, like I said, the health items I've had plenty for quite some time now. Well, I am playing on standard, so maybe it's harder if you're on one of the more difficult difficulties. And then pickup wise, I did end up buying Metaphor, which I don't think I'd bought last week. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I had. I think I was talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about it, and nowhere had it in stock.
Yeah. I was going to do the Argos thing that you said, Pengles, but by the time I'd even gone on to do that, to do the click and collect the next day, someone must have had that one copy.
Sad times.
In the one near us, and it was like, oh, the closest you've got is Tiverton.
No,
I was like, I'm good. I'm good. Or it was delivery, but then you had to pay for the delivery.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's not Amazon where it's obviously next day. It was like, oh, you're paying for delivery, and it was like, you know, 3 working days. It was the weekend at this point. I was like, oh god, I don't want to be waiting until like Wednesday, to be honest with you. So I did end up picking it up off of Amazon, but not through Amazon. It's one of those where it's like you're buying it off of like some other company. But it did still fall under Prime delivery, which is what I wanted, because I didn't want to be waiting ages to play more Metaphor. If I was paying the money to buy it, I kind of wanted to, you know, be playing it like the next day or so. So I ended up paying like £55 for it. Which isn't too bad. I didn't really want to pay like I don't want to pay £60 for it, because there was places that had it for £60. Especially as Amazon originally it was 50, right? So I was like, out of principle, I don't want to pay 60. So yeah, managed to get it for 55. I played quite a bit more of that. It's been kind of the perfect, like, I feel like shit, I want to lie in bed. What should I do? Oh, I'll play some Metaphor on the Portal game. So I think I'm like 16 hours in now. I've basically done the dungeon that you can start in the demo at the very end. I've basically finished that dungeon now, and then there's some more like story beats after that. I'm kind of just carrying on with that, but I'm still very much enjoying the game. It's very good. I feel like it's kind of at its best when it's mixing up what it's doing. So you're doing like, especially when you're doing like a little bit of combat, then a bit of cutscene, and a bit of like, you know, the social stuff, as opposed to like when it kind of concentrates on one thing, because it can get a bit like, oh, I've been, you know, going through this dungeon for quite a while now, fighting very similar enemies. So I've not really had much story for a while. So I do prefer when it's kind of like in its flow a bit better, because having the story every now and then to break up the combat is kind of ideal. And getting to know the characters is obviously kind of what you want from this sort of game, I would imagine. So yeah, I've been playing more of that, and then the only other thing I've played is some cards. Which is actually what me and you played last night, Davey.
We did. We rolled back the years, Craigo.
We did, yeah. I did think I feel like I was alright actually. At the start, I struggled a bit, but I think that was because my connection was a bit iffy. I was trying to change my bandwidth on my settings for my Wi-Fi on the Xbox to what I've done on the PlayStation, where it's the 5 GHz version.
Yeah.
not the 2.4, but there's not really a way of doing it on the Xbox. I did look on like the tech support forums, and there's people asking there, and they were like, no, you can't really do it. You have to do it on your actual Wi-Fi settings on your router, but I don't think my router supports that. So in the end, I still have my hardwire kit, which I don't use for my PlayStation because I find the 5 gigahertz version is better than the hardwire, which is weird. So I simply plugged that into the Xbox, and once I did that, my connection seemed absolutely fine then. And I was very much enjoying it, Davey. The maps seem really cool. The football map in particular, I think we both like.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, I think I'm as an old man playing COD now, I very much prefer the bigger maps. I just feel like they feel more like the classic, because even like the bigger maps on this game are like the medium-sized maps on the old CODs, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that's
as opposed to being like, as opposed to being the bigger maps on the old Call of Duties, like your Wastelands or whatever it was called, Pipeline on COD 4. Like those are like what I think of as like big Call of Duty maps, whereas like the bigger ones on here definitely feel like you're more classic, like your backlots and that sort of thing. I definitely prefer them just because it's much easier to kind of get a sense of what's going on. Like, what way should I be looking? What direction is the other team? If my team's here, where is the other team spawning? Where should I actually be thinking of pointing my gun, as opposed to the smaller maps where it's just chaos. People are spawning all over the place. You're spawning all over the place. You're spawning, looking at people, and it can be a bit like, I guess for the kids sliding around with their SMGs, that's probably awesome. But for an old man like me using a assault rifle, wanting to kill one person, then slowly reload, and then where's the next one? All right, okay, there he is. They're kind of more suited for me. But I'm looking forward to playing more of that. And I'm definitely looking forward to trying out the campaign, probably once I finish Silent Hill 2, because the campaign sounds pretty banging, in fairness.
Hell yeah, nice. Is that all you bought and played, my boy?
Yeah, that's it from me.
Right, so we'll do mine before we get back to more Pengi talk. So on PS5, I've played some Tony Hawk 1+2 HD remastered, whatever it's called. Because I think it was plus ages ago, Pengi. And I was just hanging out downstairs with my girlfriend, and I was like, I want to play something silly. And I've been playing, thank God, the nostalgia. But I'm enjoying it. A really brutal trophy list, I'll be honest. But yeah, the game's still fun. Music's still fun. Wish I was still like 10 when I played the original. And then I think the only thing on PS5 we've played some Wheel of Fortune, Craigo.
Nice.
We do like a bit. We do like the old Ubisoft quiz games. Me and the boss.
Who won?
So I think she won 2-1. But what she would do is I'd get it all down to like one letter, then she'd sneak in and be like, "Oh, it's this," and I'd be like, "You son of a bitch." But there you go. That's what happens when you play with your spouse. On Switch, I finished Tears of the Kingdom. Woohoo! And my thoughts remain the same as when I talked about it last week. It's just more Breath of the Wild, but like with a bit more story. It's a little bit more streamlined, and it just runs a bit better. And it's a really good game. Like, I really enjoyed it. It doesn't have the like wow factor of Breath of the Wild, because that was just so different for the like the series, I guess, and for the company, really, I suppose, for Nintendo. But yeah, it was an enjoyable game. It's tough because I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild, and this is a better game than Breath of the Wild. But I think because it just wasn't, it's such a sequel, I still probably slightly prefer Breath of the Wild. It sits just behind Twilight Princess for my favourite Zelda, I think. But yeah, that was pretty fun. And then on Xbox, which I've played quite a lot of Xbox this week, played some Forza Motorsport. It did crash for me, but yeah, it's one of those things, and this is like a mini rant with Xbox, because I do genuinely love Xbox. I prefer Xbox, prefer the controller, I prefer the ecosystem and everything. But my God, can they just? What's the point of having the Series S if they don't know how to make their own games run on it? Because like Forza looks terrible on the Series S, because you have to play it in performance, right? It's a racing game. It needs to be solid and stable, and it's just like it looks so ugly. Like, it looks so ugly compared to what like Project Gotham Racing did. But yeah, it's one of those. So it's kind of like, okay, fine. And then I've played some more COD like Craig. I've done basically the same as Craig, but I have played the opening story mission. It looks like it's going to be a really fun time. That's all I'll say. And that looks amazing on Series S. So I don't know why their own games don't, Pengi. And the only other game I've played is a lot of GTA 4. Because I've never finished GTA 4 or 5. For the record, I know Craig always gets angry when I point that out. But it's one of those. I've had a real urge to go back and finish some of the games in my backlog because I just don't want to buy too many games. And one of the good things about Xbox is they do a really good job with their sort of continuation with their backwards compatibility. So like, there's a lot of original and 360 games that I just haven't got to that I have in a digital library. So I was like, okay, we'll get to it. We'll play some GTA. I've really enjoyed it. I'm on, I think, mission 35 of 80, which is the furthest I've ever got. It does look and run really well on Series S. It's a solid 60
missions. That's
There's
a lot
88 missions when I looked it up. A lot of them. Some of them are really short though, to be fair. But I'm really enjoying it. I think the game holds up quite well. Like I said, it looks pretty good because I remember the problem on the 360 is it ran terribly. Like, it was quite a stuttery game on 360 and PS3 to a lesser extent, but on Series S it's a solid frame rate. It looks really nice. It's still got the weird little blur, but I think it's had like auto HDR attached to it, Craigo. But yeah, it's a fun game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the story. It's definitely the best story for a GTA game that I can recall that I've played. Obviously I haven't played 5 enough to compare it to that, but Nico's a really interesting character to me. And I like the gunplay and the driving and stuff, so it's a bit nostalgic, but I'm quite enjoying it. I really want to get that finished. And then I've got a big list of backlog games I want to get to, because obviously I'm just trying to save to do things. But yeah, that's what I've bought and played. I haven't bought anything. I can't imagine I'm going to buy anything anytime soon. Probably obviously the plan is to go on holiday at Christmas, so that is where the money's going. But Pengi, what have you been buying and playing this week?
So the only thing I've actually played is Silent Hill 2, which I have finished. I did mention I had the sort of one jump scare in the hotel at the end of the game, which is actually weirdly just like a window, but it did make me jump a little bit. Like, the mannequins, not so much, because they're going to be in the room somewhere, so they don't really make scary like Craig saying. I think
they literally hide from you and jump out. I'm not having that.
Yeah, but they're going to be hiding.
Oh, I know they're going to be in every room, do I think it's okay.
Yeah, so I don't want that.
Do you play with headphones and stuff, Pengi, or you?
No, I don't play with headphones.
No, it all makes sense now, okay. Let me guess, you got all the lights on and...
No, there's no lights on, it's still dark though and stuff like that.
It all makes sense in a day.
Yeah.
Mister, I don't get scared of everything, it all makes sense.
Oh, I played
You're like the people who watch horror films in the middle of the day with the lights on and people it's not scary.
Oh, that just seems stupid.
Slap some headphones on, Pengi, get immersed.
I played Resident Evil in VR, remember, and that had headphones and stuff in first person, so when I played that, so yeah. But I did have the one jump scare. Do agree with Craig, some of the pacing is, off. They make some things longer, especially the section that Craig's going to have coming up, longer than the original. I kind of get it. It's like, the original wasn't that long. It's like, I think mine was time with this is 14 hours, so it's like, for 50-60 quid game, if it was only 7 hours, people, might be moaning it's not, long enough. Even though it's got 8 endings, so if you really want to, you could go back and get them and go for more trophies and stuff. I got the Maria ending in my playthrough. It'd be interesting which one Craig gets. She actually sounds like he's got plenty of health and healing himself, so don't think he'll get one of the endings due to healing himself and keeping himself thing. Yeah, finished. It's sold already. Got 45 quid for it, so that's a good thing. Haven't started anything else yet, but I have got a pickup which I'll be starting soon, and that's Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, which I got on PS5.
Nice.
which I'm excited to play. It's a bit of a weird one because I'm excited to play it, but I'm only really excited for the shadow section of the game. So I'm like excited for like half a game.
Yeah, it's very much Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury vibes, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, it's like like that. I never bought because I was for ages because I only wanted to play the Bowser's Fury, and it's like I only really want to play the shadow section of this game. Yeah, I will play the Sonic thing because obviously it's got trophies and stuff like that from playing it, and it was a good game when we played it on the 360. But yeah, looking forward to that one, and that's all I've played in pickups because like Craig said, long week in work. Stuff, and obviously being on holiday and coming back. So alright, I'm just gonna play Silent Hill 2, get that done, and then I move on to something else. Like I got other stuff pretty much soon. Life is Strange, double exposure. So I definitely got that one to play, which might have played by next week's podcast and stuff like that. And I haven't done a Craig yet where he's had to buy something off someone that isn't Amazon, but trying to get a PS5 disc drive, it's very annoying. And there is one on Amazon for sale from not Amazon, but they are very expensive, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah, they've kind of they fucked it a bit, haven't they? I think they should have known it was going to happen as well. That's what's annoying. Like they should have kept some in reserve for the PS5 Pro. I don't know why they didn't do a bundle, like an official bundle.
Yeah, because then that would keep scalpers off, because they're not going to go. Oh, scalpers not going to spend 700 quid on getting the Pro and the disc drive. Well, at the moment they're just buying the disc drive for 100 and then chucking it on eBay and Amazon second, whatever it is, and charging way too much for them. So hopefully they come back in stock soon, so they can get that disc drive. But yeah. That's annoying.
I guess their data probably suggests to them that like not a lot of people would care about a disc drive. But I'd imagine the sort of people who are going to be like buying this day one are the sort of people that your Chris Bengelis who like to buy games physically, right? So.
Yes, I would think so. And like I said, you got the scalpers, which are doesn't help. So yeah, that's it for me.
Nice, what a nice concise week, and we will be keeping an eye on the Pengil's PS5 Pro watch. I know that if we find that disc tray, he's all in on PlayStation. But yeah, nice. Well, a decent sized show. If you got this far, thank you for watching, and we will see you next week for lots of Call of Duty talk. Bye now.
Bye.